Stinky Winky, Dixie, La La, Bo, Teletubbies, Teletubbies, Pa, No, Ciao, Ciao.
All right, that's an interesting opening to this podcast episode. Thank you for that. Thank you for serenading all of us, Lara.
You're welcome. It was the Italian Teletubbies song, theme song.
It sounds like it's the way that you were singing it sounds like I was just watching anime right now, and I just turned on the recording right away. But anyways, welcome back to another episode of the Geek View podcast. I don't know why I'm being so formal about it, but yeah.
Yay!
We got Lara back on because
It's me.
she was a big hit the last time. All the viewers loved her.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, tell me more. Tell me more.
I don't even know if I have any viewers. Just play along, okay? Just play
I
along.
love you too. I love you too. Thank you for letting all of this happen. I wouldn't be here without you.
But I don't know. So we are going to be talking about the advertisements from the Super Bowl, and I watched most of it. Lara, you want to give me your thoughts on the Super Bowl?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not a sports person. I have no idea what happens in football ever. I was there for tacos. Let's be real. So, I mean, I don't think it was a really exciting game, but maybe I'm probably right. It was not an exciting game. But go Pats! We won again. Yay!
No, you're not wrong. That game was kind of just boring. It wasn't that much fun to watch.
I mean, yeah.
By the time this goes up, this podcast episode goes up, there'll be another podcast episode between the one that we did on where we just talked about like movies and the first episode of 2019 and this one. And I recorded that podcast episode while the Super Bowl was going on because I literally got bored towards the middle of the second quarter.
Yeah, it wasn't that exciting. I mean, I was kind of expecting it. I mean, am I wrong in saying that I was expecting the Patriots to win? I mean, I kind of wish I'd bet some money on it because I would have made something out of it, right?
You wouldn't have made a lot. Like, they were clear favorites going into the game, so
yeah.
Like the odds you would have gotten would have been very minimal. But had you bet on the Rams and the Rams would have won, then you would have made a lot of money. But yeah, I mean, going in, I just supported. Like I knew the team I was going to support. I knew the team that was going to win. So it's just the same as 2017 all over again. But we are here to talk about the Super Bowl advertisements, a very unique episode that we've decided to just come up with. And you and I have differing opinions on the Super Bowl advertisements, mainly because I thought they were boring as shit.
Okay, hold on. Yeah. I didn't say it was like that. I didn't say I was completely disagreeing with you. But I think they're always interesting. They're always fun to watch. I mean, I watched the Super Bowl because of the advertisements, because I'm always curious to see what they're going to come up with, And yeah, this year wasn't super exciting, but still noteworthy, kind of, right?
I honestly, there's like one advertisement that I can think of that I remember from, and I watched the entire Super Bowl, granted. Even though I was recording the podcast, like, you're recording it, you're just talking. Your eyes can go wherever they want to go.
Right.
So there's literally one advertisement that I can think of where I was just like, this one was actually kind of cool and interesting. Because the rest of them were, and it was a Bud Light Game of Thrones one.
Oh, yeah. Okay, honestly, I was confused.
Whether it was an advertisement for Bud Light or whether it was an advertisement for Game of Thrones.
Right, I was confused by that.
So
like,
no, I read up on
okay,
it, and
okay,
apparently
wait, wait,
they
wait,
want.
wait, wait, wait,
Okay,
wait,
okay,
wait.
okay, okay,
Sorry,
okay.
okay, wait.
Yeah.
Before you tell me the truth, this is
Yeah,
my theory that I have in my head of
sure.
what happened, and I might be completely wrong. So then, tell me later. Okay, so I think that Game of Thrones paid Bud Light to do that, right?
No,
Is that like is it like a Bud Light ad paid by Game of Thrones?
no, not really.
Ah, damn. Okay, I was completely wrong. But I was like, why
Well,
would they? What is this? Okay, tell me, tell
so
me.
the main reason behind that was they decided that like the two biggest things that are there, like Bud Light is an incredibly famous beer,
Mm-hmm.
and it's one of the most widely consumed like general beers that's there, and then Game of Thrones is also like a similar equivalent of what like in terms of popularity with as a TV show and everything like that. So it was
Mm-hmm.
considered like this like big crossover because the character of like the Bud Light Knight has existed
Yeah.
for a while now. So they were
Yeah.
just like, let's do this like crazy crossover kind of thing. I think it was a mash of Bud Light's marketing team and Game of Thrones' marketing team, or mainly HBO's marketing team, and then they put this thing together. It wasn't like one or the other was like promoting it. They were just like, Bud Light doesn't need to, have like a Bud Light commercial come up, or like hashtag Bud Light come up or anything like that. But they were just like, if we combine ourselves with like these guys, it's just going to be a really cool thing, like a crossover.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it worked because honestly, that's the only one that I can remember out of all of the other advertisements that I watched.
I mean,
Now, you tell me about yours. Like, I don't know,
okay,
what made you think like, oh, it's not boring or something like that, and like what particularly stood out for you?
okay, wait. So the Game of Thrones one, I want to know if they split the cost of like the ad half and half, because
The
those things.
I don't know if that's going to be like even out there.
Yeah, I have no idea, but like I'm wondering, like what was the agreement? Just because I'm curious.
Sure.
The ad that actually made this is probably like the ad that was the funniest to me was the T-Mobile ad where they're like texting. It's literally just like a phone screen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this boyfriend and girlfriend texting, and she texts in. She's like, "Oh, what do you want to get for dinner?" And he like types back. He's like, "You're gonna want sushi, right?" And then deletes it, and then
Yeah.
writes, "Oh, I really want tacos," and then deletes it, and then just writes, "Whatever you want, babe." I laughed so hard at that because that is me. That's literally me. I'm like, what do you want to eat? It's always what I want anyway.
I get that. That's kind of cool. Like
Yeah.
it, but so that would be an advertisement that I would think would be really fun if it popped up on regular TV.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Like
mean, I just thought it was relatable.
Mhm.
I liked it. It was funny.
No, no, I don't disagree with that. For me, it's just like I have different expectations when it's like a major sporting event or something like that,
Hmm.
especially where people are going to be paying what was it, $5 million for a 30-second spot?
Yeah. I think that was the Amazon ad that they cost $5 million. I might be wrong though.
Because like I know they were talking about how like a few years ago it used to cost $1 million per ad, and now it's gone up to 5 million. Or for the 2019 Super Bowl, Super Bowl 53, the ad cost was $5 million for 30 seconds of advertisement, and that's the
Hmm.
thing that bothered me. Where it's just like if you're gonna spend $5 million and you're gonna promote it during like a thing that's watched by almost 100 million people or something like that, make it unique, make it stand out. Like
Yeah. Yeah. I
there have
see.
been commercials before where like they've appealed to you from an emotional perspective. They've appealed like they actually put like real money and like a real campaign into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why like most of the commercials that I watched, I'm like I remember watching the commercial for Bumble. I remember watching the commercial for T-Mobile. Um, even the Stella one, like the Stella one was
The
another
Stellar
one where
Trois.
yeah, the Stella Artois one
Yeah.
was like one of the ones where I'd say that probably got my second place, not because of how well the advertisement was done, because that was just average, but on the way that it was marketed before the advertisement came out. Like a week or so before the Super Bowl, like Jeff Bridges was like promoting it on his social media that the dude is going to come back, and everyone thought that it was going to be like, oh, are they going to do Big Lebowski 2? What is it going to be for? Some people rightly predicted that no, it's just going to be an advertisement. He's going to do it for something like that, and then they appealed to this like cult fan base that's there for the Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
So that's like a smart thing. Obviously, they try to loop in like Sex and the City with Sarah Jessica Parker as well. And like the advertisement was kind of boring at the end of the day, but it was how well they did their marketing.
Yeah, no, definitely interesting. I guess I feel like I'd seen that ad before the Super Bowl. Is that am I wrong? I feel like I saw it before on like YouTube or something.
I mean, most advertisements in the Super Bowl are on YouTube. I don't know whether they go up the day of or the very next morning.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah, that was definitely interesting, and
I don't know. That's apart from that, I know that they did the 100 years of NFL ad. That was kind of cool. Stood
yeah,
out a little bit, but
that was fun to see.
Exactly. But as someone who's like only really gotten into football in the last like I'd say probably around 11th or 12th grade of high school. So maybe in the last like 7 or 8 years, I didn't recognize a significant amount of the people that were in it. So I feel like,
Honestly,
yeah,
I didn't know. I when it started, I was like, "What is happening?" I had to have my friends explain it to me, like, "Oh, they're all football players."
yeah, like
oh, I
I
get
feel
it.
I feel like if it was someone who's been like a fan for like 40, 50 years,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
They would have had a lot bigger kick out of it because they would have been like, oh, this is the person, like, when I was a teenager, I used to see play, and now
Yeah,
he's like
yeah.
back in an advertisement or something like that. So I feel like that was more of like hitting that nostalgia factor, but again, it failed on someone who's only been a fan for like less than a decade now.
Yeah. You know
Uh,
what I
what's
thought
up?
was like an interesting theme that was like a recurring theme in this year's ads
Mm-hmm.
was all the robots. It was like all the robots and the fact that they can't do like human things. Like there's that one, oh my god, I should.
I know what you're talking about. The one where it's like,
One is the beer ad where it's like robots are so much better than us at everything. They're like running, spinning, golf and everything, but they can't enjoy the great things in life. And then it's like this robot looking into a bar where there's all these people just drinking beer and having a great time, and he's like, "Oh, I'm a robot. I can't drink beer." But then like there were lots of robot themes this year. There was
mm-hmm.
that one, and then there was another one that was like, I think it was like the Pringles Alexa ad, but it wasn't Alexa. It was like another home computer where it's like, oh, you can stack these Pringles and make all these other foods. Like you can make pizza Pringles or like taco Pringles or whatever. And then there's like Alexa that's like, I can't have Pringles. I am soulless. Or have you seen that one? You know which one I'm
No,
talking about?
I do, but like I view it kind of very differently. It's like there's a weird fear for all things, not a weird one, like a slightly justified fear for all things like robotic and like technophobia and everything like that. So I think that's why they kind of made that advertisement. It's just like, don't feel bad about yourself. Look at how bad like robots are, and
Yeah.
like not being able to enjoy human things. Even though at the end of the day, like they're robots, they're not meant to enjoy human things.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no, but like,
I just thought it was I just thought it was interesting how there was like a lot of it was like a recurring theme. There were lots of ads that had robots in them, which was interesting.
I think the kind of cool thing was like I completely forgot on some of the advertisements because uh I started watching the like what do you call it, the game 2 minutes into the first quarter.
Yeah.
But like Ridley Scott directed the Turkish Airlines one.
Oh, I think I missed that one.
I don't think I remember seeing that either. I'm just going through altogether there were 53 advertisements, right?
Yeah.
Uh there was a Hyundai one which I don't know, it was just kind of boring.
Oh, you know which one was really funny? I thought the Audi one. I think that was like the first one that they played, where there's basically this guy in like this garage place, but like it looks all cool and modern, and someone's describing to him all the features of the Audi, and
Yeah.
he's like walking around, and he finally gets to sit down, put his hands on the wheel, and then he wakes up because he was like dying. He was choking on a peanut in his office. So he was
Oh, I know what you're
basically
talking
in
about.
heaven while he
Yep.
was driving the Audi.
Yep. Now I remember that one.
Yeah, that
I,
one was I like that one. I like that one. I thought it was very funny.
so like I'm kind of going through it all right now, right? Like just
Yeah.
every single one of them.
Yeah. Well, because
Uh,
it's like car
yeah.
ads usually are not humorous. They're like landscape, car,
Uh,
wheels,
I see,
features, you
I
know?
disagree with that. Like I think car companies at times have made some of the best advertisements where they'll like, especially ones that have like an emotional element to them about like
Mhm.
some sort of like a minivan advertisement or something like that, and like all the times that someone has like had through it, blah blah blah. Like if you some of the older Super Bowls had these commercials made by either Ford or someone else where they had a lot more of like an emotional aspect to it. Whereas this
Mhm.
year's like I can't even really remember the last couple of years of the Super Bowl advertisements, but this year's Super Bowl advertisements, from the ones that I can remember, had this really not genuine tone about them.
Yeah. I
Like,
think they're all mainly, I mean, I think this year they were all going on the humor side of things. I feel like they
mhm,
all tried really hard to be funny. Whereas in the previous years, they tried harder to appeal to emotions. Like even the Budweiser one, like
mhm.
remember 2 years ago, or maybe it was last year, they did the horse or the dog running away and then coming back home. Oh my god, I cried like a baby for that ad. This year, um, it was still like same style where it's kind of like fairy tale like in this land of grains and things like that. There was still a dog. It's like the one where now it's brewed with air energy.
Yep.
And there's like this dog, this beautiful Dalmatian with his ears in the wind, which by the way is really bad for dogs. Like you should not do that. But like moving on. I felt like that was probably the most emotional ad that I can remember, and it
Like
wasn't that crazy emotional, you know?
for I don't know. There were times when I'm just like this had bad like how do I say it? Like this just had like bad market research behind it. Like they had a commercial for Expensify, and they decided to like, oh, let's bring in Two Chains, who hasn't really been like on the forefront of pop culture in a
Mhm.
very 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 long time. And it wasn't like he had a particularly like massive background before, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
He wasn't like incredibly famous before, and then they kind of brought him back like years after he had like uh honestly any real good music, or just had been like, in the Billboard top hundreds or anything like that. So it was just like, I don't know, it just felt weird. It felt like it was, I couldn't figure out who they were exactly trying to appeal to. Like it's like, are you trying to bring in like like a crowd of people that stopped watching the Super Bowl and like and have kind of lived under a rock since 2012, and then you're just like, let's bring in this guy who hasn't really been like super relevant for 6 years.
Mhm.
And then the one that really like, okay, this was the one that really kind of annoyed me. They decided to do an ASMR advertisement.
I did not see that one. Okay, I'm gonna admit there was like,
Yeah.
I think there was a certain point where I just left and ate tacos the whole time. So I missed like the third quarter ads or something like that.
No, that's fine. Like, you honestly
But
didn't miss out on much. It was just, I don't know. It's gonna be a super negative thing. Like, okay, uh, because like we're consistently just shitting on the advertisements. I did
mhm.
enjoy, for example, like the Amazon advertisement, the one where it's just like Harrison Ford running after his dog, while his dog just keeps ordering shit because like Alexa is now like responds to dog barks. It was just a joke
Yeah,
about how like Alexa's gonna be everywhere and everything like that. So
yeah.
that was there. Then I think Bud Light. I think the Washington Post one was kind of cool. I really did think that it was like, uh, I don't know. It was like kind of a interesting advertisement to throw in with like all of the non-serious kind of more of the humor oriented or more of the like look how relevant we are with our ASMR advertisement kind of thing. And then you just have like a Washington Post one, which is just like, we get that you're having all of this fun, but like just remember what's going on in the world as well at the same time.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think. The Doritos one was just weird for me. It felt really weird seeing like them blend like Chance the Rapper with Backstreet Boys. That was just really fucking weird for me. Uh, I'm trying to think. Like, there's nothing that really stood out to me, and I remember what you were talking about, where it was just like,
I liked the first responsors one from Verizon.
that was actually pretty good. Also, Google did something like that as well. Both those were like some of the more like um, emotion-based
Emotionally
ones, yeah.
appealing, yeah.
But I don't know, nothing like incredibly stood out to me. That was the main thing, and I'm from what you were talking about the robots, like the one that popped into my head directly, it was not because it was a good advertisement. I just thought it was really funny, and
Mhm.
that was the I think it was like TurboTax advertisement or something like that.
Yeah, with the robot kid that's
With
like, "But daddy, I wanna be a tax
a
accountant."
tax accountant, and I'm just like the only way this advertisement could be good is if like when the lady's just like you can't ever be a tax accountant, and then like he kind of, because the robot was already really fucking creepy looking, but
Yeah.
imagine he just looks up, and I like looked over to my friend Josh, and I'm just like he kind of, I'm just like, this would be a whole lot better if right when he looked up, all you heard in the background was just a theme from Terminator. Like it would actually be kind of funny, it would actually kind of stand out, like it would be very different from like just what the hell was that advertisement? It's just like
They'd have to
all of
pay
our.
royalties.
I mean, I
They
get that, but it's
use
not. If you're gonna spend $5 million, then that spend 500,000 more and get the like, you know. Also, I think it falls under like fair use as long as it's like under 10 seconds or something like that,
Mm,
doesn't it?
I'm not 100% sure about ad
That
laws. Oh, also one
yeah.
thing that I don't get, but maybe this is more of like an America thing, whereas
Mhm.
in Europe or in Italy, I've never seen ads where direct competitors were mentioned and like not spammed, but like, you know,
They
talked
brought him up.
poorly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas the Bud Light one where it's like, oh, not brewed with corn syrup,
Yep.
and then
Yep.
they go and there's like Coors Light Castle because it's in that medieval world. It's like, yeah, that's our corn syrup. I'm like, I is that
It doesn't.
legal? Like,
Yeah,
how does
because
that work? I mean, I'm sure it's legal, but like, I'm very curious to find out
it
how.
doesn't fall under defamation mainly because uh the entire thing has to do with like they really do have corn syrup in their beers.
Right. So I'm
So
not saying like defamation, but
yeah,
like direct comparison.
yeah, I am not surprised by that because I remember when like when I used to live in Ireland and I would watch some of the advertisements that come by.
Mm-hmm.
The the only ones I can really think about right now are like more of the telecommunications one, and they would outright say that we have more coverage than these people, and we have better coverage than these people, like stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So
Uh,
that's why it didn't feel really out of place to me. It was more like, as long as they're not like showing them as being, I don't know, if they showed them as being like, oh, look at us, we're in the modern era, and then there's just like Coors Light in the backward, like Stone Age or something like that. Like that would fall under defamation, or that could be a bit of an issue. But the fact that they were just like, we have no corn syrup. Is this your corn syrup? No. Okay. Is this your corn syrup? No. Okay. Is this yours? Yep. Okay. Then take it. Like, I don't know. I think that's smart advertising at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it probably depends on like the regulations for the specific country that it comes out in.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was just something that I'm not used to because in Italy, I've never seen an ad where
They have a
like
direct
that
competitor.
where there's a direct competitor. Yeah, it's like even for like detergent ads, it's always like, oh, our Vanish ad versus a blank bottle, you know?
I do get what you're saying. Yeah. Like, it would just be like regular market detergent,
Yeah.
our detergent. No,
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I mean,
But
I never really thought about it from that point of view. Right now, when I'm thinking about it, like just I can't really think about advertisements from back home. But I know whenever I used to visit like my grandparents in India or something like that, that was one of the advertisements that popped into my head right now, where they would have like one of those things that you used to scrub the dish, and they would
the
always do like a regular market one, and then they would do their version, which indirectly they were talking about all of their competitors. But I think that the only reason they couldn't do anything like that directly is because there's no proof that theirs wipes better. It's just them using a marketing tactic. So that's why they had to kind of say that, you know, um, we're
yeah,
just
no,
better or something like that.
yeah. No, I definitely like. I mean, I get it, but I just find it curious.
It's weird. Yeah. I didn't even really think about that. That's kind of interesting. That is actually
Mhm.
really interesting.
You
Uh,
know, I think
what's up?
what the weirdest ad for me, yeah, that was definitely the weirdest one, the one that left me more thinking about like, what did I just see? Is the Burger King ad with Andy, where it's like this dude and it's like stylized so it looks like from the 50s or 60s or something.
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's just him eating a burger. I was kind of expecting him to say something like, here's the beef. Because you know that Wendy ad that's like, where's the beef?
No,
And then,
I think that was more just like just look at.
look at this
Eh,
weird dude eating a burger.
Yeah, but he's a really famous weird dude. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, is he?
Yeah, that was Andy Warhol.
Oh, well, but yeah, but it wasn't him. It was like a look-alike. Wasn't him. Was it him? Oh my god.
Wait, I'm pretty.
Ah.
I'm pretty sure it's actually him.
I thought he was like a lot older though.
Yeah, it's an original film of. It's an original Andy Warhol film. Andy Warhol film.
So it's like an original film. It's like not a recreation.
Yep.
Wow, I did not know that. See, in my head, I was like, oh, they like hired someone that looks like him and then they like stylized it, you know?
Mm.
Oh, that's
It was
very
filmed.
interesting.
It was a scene filmed for a film.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah. Footage of Warhol from Andy Warhol eating a hamburger, and the full
Mm-hmm.
scene originally appeared in Jorgen Lett's film 66 Scenes from America. So I think it was just like maybe like, I don't know, neorealism film or something like that, of people eating food, people doing other shit or something like that.
Mm.
And then one of those things was just Andy Warhol eating a hamburger, and then they bought the rights to that and used that as their Burger King commercial.
Oh. Well, see, that is interesting. I did not know. By the way, what's your internet provider? Because my computer is super slow. I can't look up stuff like this.
I don't
What are
know
you
because
using?
like I don't know who my internet provider is. It comes from the place where I live. Like they provide it.
Oh yeah, because you do that hotel thing. That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else in particular, or should we? You tell me. Is there anything else in particular that you're interested in, or should we call it with a 30-minute long episode?
Was it 30 minutes?
It's been 30 minutes.
Wow, talking to you makes me feel so young. Time flies when you're having fun.
There you go. There's your advertisement. The top one.
Best and worst moments of the Super Bowl. Go.
Best moment watching the touchdown from 3-3 to 9-3. Worst moment in the Super Bowl.
The halftime show.
Oh yeah, yeah. That halftime show was just the definition of.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't
It was
horrible. Come on, it
like
was not.
the game in general was just eh. And then you add on top of the fact that like the halftime show was less than mediocre.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I like Maroon 5. I'm not like a crazy fan girl, but like I know their songs and I sang along and all that.
Like it felt like a regular concert that they would have just done. That's what it felt like.
A regular concert. It was nice. It was fun. It was like okay.
There was nothing exceptional about it. Exactly. Like there was nothing Super Bowl-y about it. It was just like they gave them a little like really cool stadium, or not a stadium. They gave them a really cool stage surrounded by like not 100, but tens of thousands of people, like maybe 30,000, 40,000, something along those lines. And then they were just like, yeah, dude, perform.
And they did.
And they did. And they just gave like it was just like a 5 or 6 song concert, but that was about it. It didn't feel exceptional. There wasn't anyone like jumping off the top of the stadium and like, coming and gliding into the stage or whatever.
Or fireworks.
Or fireworks or anything like that. It felt like a very regular concert. They brought in Big Boy that like I'm 99% sure like most of the people that were in that crowd watching Adam Levine perform and like Adam Levine and Maroon 5 perform, none of them had, like 95% of them had no idea who the hell Big Boy was.
Yo, I thought that was Kanye.
No, it wasn't. I made the like no, I do get what you're saying because like they both like I don't know how, but like
they both like that.
Like it's not only that, it's their facial hairstyle. Like their facial hairstyle is incredibly similar, and like some of the camera angles that they had going on made it look like it was just like a slightly fatter version of Kanye on stage. But it's like once like the camera stops and like actually like focuses in on him, you're just like, okay, yeah, that's a whole other person.
Yeah.
I do get what you're saying because like on the side when he was just like kind of walking in with the coat and like the camera's just like following him, I'm just like, is that Kanye? Like, is that their like surprise thing? Like, oh, you guys watch Adam Levine, you
now you watch Kanye too.
Now you get Kanye, and like that's the big surprise or something like that. Even though like I don't give a shit about him, but like I don't know. I'm glad that like people kind of got pissed off about them cutting out SpongeBob's like the little musical bit that they had going on.
Yeah, well, they'd had like they showed like a little cartoon segment that then right before the halftime show there was like a little. I think
it was right after. What do you call it?
It was right before the halftime show, and then it was like there was like this rocket image.
That wasn't before the halftime show. That was after Maroon 5 performed, before Travis Scott came on.
Oh, was that after?
Yeah,
it was like in the middle.
Yeah, it was the middle of the thing, right before they brought on Travis Scott. They were gonna play like "Sweet Victory" by like not by SpongeBob, but like as it was shown in SpongeBob, and that was the thing.
Right.
But then they cut it. Like they didn't let the song continue or anything like that. They just cut it for, I'm gonna guess, for time purposes. And then Travis Scott came on, and that's why like everyone made the joke that like, Sweet Victory comes on and then gets like thrown away by Sicko Mode or something like that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I don't know. It felt like a very average Super Bowl. There was nothing. There was nothing that particularly stood out about it. It wasn't a bad one. Like I don't say that. Like I don't say like, oh, it was a terrible Super Bowl. There wasn't like any calls that were like bad, or the game just sucked or anything like that. It was just
Not
kind of,
exciting.
yeah, and that's what makes it average.
Anticlimactic.
Actually, that's a very good way of putting it. But everyone's gonna have unrealistic expectations from Super Bowls now, like especially to do with like whenever the Patriots are playing, because once you have something like a 28-3 to like winning the game kind of thing, you're always gonna have that after Super Bowl, like I think it was, what was it, 2015, so 49 or 50, I can't remember. Ever since then, or it might have been 50. I'm pretty sure it was 50.
Well, this is 53.
Yeah, I should know this number. I am 99% sure. Nope, it wasn't 50. It was 51 then.
But I thought it was fun to see the parade, but it was okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice. Being on the duck boats looked fun. I would have gone on the duck boat.
Oh yeah, that actually might be a fun thing to talk about. We both live in Boston. Like the parade took place. I was at work the entire time. Like we had the option to kind of like.
I went to watch it with my boss. Like, okay, this was really funny. I went to watch the parade with both of my bosses and like a colleague of mine. And then while we were coming back, I was like, by the way, can I get a raise?
That's a very interesting way to ask for a raise.
Yeah, it was like, just keep it cash. Keep it cash.
Just when they're least expecting it, it's like, oh, she's not gonna ask for a raise when we're out for a parade. She does.
I do. That's what I do. It was well received though. It was well received. So.
Well, then congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And yeah, no, I had the option that like if I wanted to go watch the parade and everything like that, but it's like you need to get, in order to really enjoy the parade, you need to get there kind of early, and then you need to stand in line and watch it all happen and everything like that. Otherwise, you're just getting to a place when like you got to be standing like 50, 60, 70 feet away.
No, not necessarily. I was on Boylston.
Yeah, I was near Government Center, so like I had a much smaller street.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like they were pretty close. The only thing is Brady was wearing sunglasses, so all you could see was his perfect jawline.
But
is that funny?
No, it's just like how do you transition from that?
What do you mean? Like, that's all. Isn't that all you think about? You're like, I'm gonna see Tom Brady.
No, I think like most people, and actually no, that was another thing that kind of came up, was just like a lot of the people that like live in Boston and work in Boston and everything like that. It wasn't a lot of people like that actually went for the parade. Like a significant chunk of them did go for the parade, but it was only for a short amount of time and then they went back. The people that stayed for most of the parade all the way until the end, like came in early and then stayed all the way until the end, were usually people from outside of the city, because I remember they were all talking about on the news at like 5:15 or something like that. All news outlets were reporting that, oh, it's just going to be completely filled up. There's long lines at the commuter rail.
People.
Exactly.
1 million people came to see the parade.
And it's like there was a long line. I think it was like record-breaking lines for the commuter rail and everything like that. And at the same time, I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna have to take the T back home. It's gonna be insane. Like I'm taking the green line, and then I went there, and there was no line.
Yeah.
Like it was just like It was like a regular thing. But at the same time, a couple of my friends who live kind of far out, who left from work, had to take the commuter route, and there were like hundreds of people waiting.
Oh, wow.
So it was kind of like this interesting thing where it's just like all of the people that go inside of the city, those
Mm-hmm.
trains were working kind of perfectly fine. The people that wanted to leave from the city were having the hardest time.
You know, I really just popped out of the office, was right there on Boylston, took a look, Brady passed, I left. Like, also, like, you know me, I'm not a huge sports fan. Like, really, I couldn't care less. I just had to find the right moment to tackle my boss. So I was like, this is gonna be a good bonding experience.
Well, at least it worked out. That's the main thing.
Yeah, it worked out. I've been sleep deprived for about 3 weeks, but there you go. Now I don't have to be.
That's a pretty positive note to end the podcast on. What do you think?
I think, guys, if you want to go ask for a raise,
wait
just
for your
do
city
it.
to win the Super Bowl.
Just wait for your city to win the Super Bowl. All right, Kush. I had a good time.
This was fun. Hope everyone enjoyed this like weirdly unique episode where we're not talking about movies or video games. It's just
Let
advertisements
us
and
know which one was your favorite ad.
actually,
We
yeah,
want
why
to
not?
hear from you.
Yeah,
No,
why not? Like, it's gonna be up on my website. It's I don't know if people can comment. I should probably figure out a way to like allow a better way of like I don't know what's the best way to describe it. Like
commenting
if I put yeah,
to
like allow a way of
participating.
commenting because you can't really comment on podcasts like an Apple podcast. You can leave a review, but there's no back and forth.
You can't do it like as a post where it's like you put the episode on top and then it's like leave a comment. I don't know how it works.
No,
I'll
not
let
on
you figure that
podcasts.
out.
It can people can comment on my website, but that's not going to be the primary way of like getting to my podcast. My website is just an RSS feed in order to feed into Apple Podcasts. So there's two possibilities. One being that I can maybe put up just a regular picture of the Geek View podcast and then upload it as a video. And the other possibility being like somehow making my website a more primary target. And I think the YouTube one might be a much better idea. So anyway, that's about it from this episode. A small, short, quick episode of I don't know what time is it. 8:55.
I have to
Actually,
go
not
to
that.
sleep now. I have to go to sleep.
That is true. That is true. A good short 45-minute episode. I think that's going to be pretty solid. Well, everyone, thanks for listening in. Feel free to leave a comment if you can, somewhere or another. Tell me your favorite advertisement. This is going to be all. See you, everyone. Have a good night.
Bye bye.